They certainly tell us that AmFam Field needs repairs. What would you like to see done with your experience at AmFam Field and some repairs for the Milwaukee Brewers? All that ahead, coming up on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Everybody, we've had some guests on here the last several days. We've run through the some of our great brewer guests. Bart Winkler joined me a couple of days ago. We had Matt Carroll on from Reviewing the Brew, and of course, Vinny Rottino joined us last week here on Locked On Brewers. So it's a solo show today. No guest. It's just you and I, the fans of the Milwaukee Brewers on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As always, you find Locked On Brewers on Google, Spotify, Apple, and of course, you go to our YouTube page. Go to YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers. Find us, subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll be alerted every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Somebody asked me, well, when you watch the postseason right now, do you think, oh, God, I wish that was us? Well, of course, but I'm just so used in my lifetime, the Brewers not making the postseason as a Milwaukee Brewer fan that, disappointment is ingrained in me. It's embedded in me, unfortunately. So, yeah, I look and I see, wow, boy, that could be us. But, if I did that for every time I watched a playoff game, it'd be like every other year. I mean, starting from 1978 on up when they had their first winning season. Oh, man, the Brewers, yeah, that could be us. We could be playing the Kansas City Royals. We're better than the Royals. We have 93 wins. 79, 80, 81. Yankees beat us in the short series. Well, that could be us. Now, we could be playing the Dodgers. We could beat the Dodgers. 82. Well, we got to the World Series. Favors in that World Series. Couldn't get it done against St. Louis. 2008, Philadelphia moved on. Could have been us. Many times it could have been us. The problem is it isn't us. It's not us, and it's because of us. It's because of our team. Not good enough. Yeah, I don't buy into this that, well, you know what, a break here and a break there and a break there. Just too many of them. It's like when the Packers lost in the 24-14 NFC Championship game. Now, that was an epic collapse. There were so many things that went wrong there. But I think when you're a good baseball team, you're going to get breaks. You're going to have good things happen to you. You make your own breaks. I watched the Houston Astros and I see them, and they were down 2-1 in the series. They came back and won last night, but I see them and I say, boy, there's some talent on that team and they seem to have good things happen to them. Well, part of me wonders, what's really going on there. Hey, once a cheater, it's hard to get out. It's hard to get that out of my mind. But besides that, I look at the Astros and I say, man, they have a lot of things go their way. The Cardinals over the years, man, they sure get a lot of things go their way. Funny how that happens. The Brewers, no, they don't have many things. But you know what? You make your own breaks. You do. You won't make your own breaks. And the bottom line is this team has got to get better in the offseason. It is. And now Willy Adames is one area at shortstop. He's due probably about $12 million. He's probably due to make about $12 million this coming season. And then he's going to hit the free agent market. I look at it like, thank goodness they didn't sign him to a long-term extension. For a while there, I was like, God, sign this guy, especially after 2021. He got here and he was such an inspiration and a spark to the 2021 team. Sign this man. And it's like, now $12 million seems like a lot of money to sign Willy Adames. It does. So, yeah, and again, you can't trade him in the offseason because I think his trade value is diminished so much. Yes, sure, he was good defensively, and he hits some home runs. But, man, I don't know what his trade – I don't think his trade value is certainly not what it was a couple of years ago. And, yeah, I would say the Brewers signing to an extension is completely off the table. But maybe he comes back, Brewers sign him for $12 million, and he has a career year with the Brewers. I seem to think that the Brewers are going to have somebody else playing shortstop in a couple of years, and maybe next season. It might be somebody else. Somebody asked Bryce Terang on Twitter. Bryce Terang's got to earn himself second base, first of all. He's got to prove to me that he's an everyday hitter. He's got a major league second baseman's glove, no doubt about it, and he can play short, but can he stick? Can he hit? Can he, come through? Most often than not, this year you cut him some slack because he's a rookie, but I see a lot of holes out there. He's changed his batting stance a little bit after that call up from AAA, but the jury is still out on him. And I know we love our rookies, we do, but I would say the jury is out. Weimer for sure, and Bryce Terang, I would say at second base. I mean, if you're completely sold on a 230 hitter with great glove, hey, that's on you, but we need some offense on this team. We do. And I'm not saying I'm done with him by any means, but he hasn't proven to me that he is a bona fide everyday second baseman on a championship level team. And we want to get to the championship level. We're not sitting here going by like we're doing each and every year and falling out of the first round of the playoffs. We need to do better than that. Somebody also messaged me about Bieber, Shane Bieber from the Cleveland Indians, with a trade for him if they need an ace because of Woodruff going down. I think Bieber's going to be on the market. What they're asking, if you're asking Jackson Churio, forget it. If you're asking Weimer or you're asking somebody else, maybe Terang, okay. I don't think you can get him with Terang. You need a lot more than that. I'd kind of be interested in that, but I think they want prospects, ready-made guys on the Milwaukee Brewers. Who would you give them? Who would you trade them on the Brewers? Ready-made guys? I mean, if they want to take Yelich's contract off our hands, I'm for sure good with that. I know we love our Christian Yelich, but Christian Yelich, you want to take him off my hands, I'm good. But, the young guys, untouchable. Jackson Churio, untouchable, except the young guys, Terang and Weimer, are still there for me. But if you look at it, for a team that won 92 games, sure got a lot of holes to fill, don't we? We sure got a lot of holes to fill on this baseball team. Starting with Woodruff going down, Burns potentially. Well, those are two big spots. Those are 1-2 in your starting rotation, which was the fortress of this team, the starting pitching. And the bullpen. Which one of those guys, the bullpen, do you want to have back next year? Later on here in the offseason, and there went my glasses. Yeah, which guys in the bullpen do you want? I mean, the theory is that some of those guys in the bullpen will not have the years, like Bryce Wilson will not have the year that he had this year. I mean, he kind of had a career year this past year. Came in, did his job from the very beginning, and I was a little scared that guy in the beginning of the year, but he began to earn my trust. But I don't know what you can do with him for next year, if you want to bring him back or what. I mean, because it's just, again, the pattern with the relievers is some guys like that aren't consistent. Now, of course, Devin Williams, you want part of your bullpen. He's your guy. Uribe, I want him as my 8th inning guy. And of course, Peguero, my 7th inning guy, provided he's healthy and all ready to go. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Our stadium, it's going to look like it's going to get a little rebuild here. And when I say rebuild, well, it's going to get a little repair job done on it, okay? And it's getting closer and closer to passing through all those political walls. We'll talk more about that and what you would like to see done at AmFam Field. I have some thoughts of what I like to see done, because there are certain things that need to be done at AmFam Field that are long overdue, and we got to get it done. This show is brought to you in part by Sleeper. The MLB playoffs are right here. MLB playoffs are right here. The clock is ticking on your chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. It's never been more exciting. You watch the game, stars on every team, pitchers, offense. This Philly team is just hitting the ball all over the ballpark. And right now, pick more or less on stats like home runs, hits, strikeouts, doubles. Now, Bryce Harper gets up to the plate. What's he going to do? Get your picks right. You could win big. You can win big, up to 100 times payout on Sleeper. Use the promo code Locked On. Get $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See the terms for use. Go to YouTube. You're watching me on YouTube right now. Click that on right there, right on the logo, and they'll tell you all what it is with the deposit match. But Sleeper is the way to go. There's so many different ways, so many different props on Sleeper involving baseball that you're going to want to get on. Triples, doubles. What's this guy going to do? It's all there. You like a certain matchup with a certain pitcher against this hitter during these playoffs or the World Series? Go for it. Go for it. Again, use that promo code Locked On. You'll get a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. Again, click on that logo right there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. I will tell you, if you're watching us on or you're listening to us on the various platforms that we download Locked On Brewers, go to sleeper.com/promo/Locked On. It'll tell you everything you need on Sleeper. And of course, you get our episodes on Google, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the major downloads. All you everydayers out there, I hear about you. I see you messaging me on YouTube. Go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, and hit the subscribe button. We're right there. I read your messages. I read your comments every day right here on Locked On Brewers. I get up in the morning. I see what people have to say. After games, off season, we are here for you here on Locked On Brewers. When we return, what do you want to see done with this ballpark? This financing bill is going through government right now. It's getting there. It's going to happen, I believe. And what do you want done? There's a few things I like what they're going to do here, and we'll talk about that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. All right, here's what I'd like to have done. First of all, I like the idea that they're winterizing AmFam Field. This should have been done from the very beginning. Why didn't we do this? Well, let's face it, back in the 90s, we know more now than we do then. We're just trying to keep the team in town back in 1995, hoping that bill went through and it slid by one vote. Okay. So I guess at that point, beggars couldn't be choosers. But at this point, okay, the Brewers shouldn't be going anywhere. All right. We know that with their tenants, their fandom and all that. We know that. But that winterizing the ballpark, I think that's a great idea. Because I've said from the very beginning, AmFam Field needs to be used 12 months a year. So beginning of October through April of next year, the beginning of April next year, late March, that place is basically vacant. We have this beautiful facility in our small community that's being unused. Why is that? It should be used for things. Yeah, they had a bowling tournament there about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, but I'm talking about let's use it. Let's bring Final Fours here. All right, let's play hockey games, basketball games. Let's use this thing in the wintertime. All right, you go by it, and it's, if you walk inside, and I used to be able to go to the old Fridays in there, and I'd take my kids in there and just get that feeling of baseball just going in there during the wintertime. But the rest of the place is shut down. Let's get some use out of AmFam winterizing. Great idea. Great idea, winterizing. Let's get it done and bring some events into AmFam Field. Number 2, let's fix that speaker system. You know, Mark Richards has got a beautiful voice, but there are parts of the AmFam Field I cannot hear him, or he's muffled. Or, you know, you hear what's on the scoreboard. A player is interviewed on the scoreboard, or it's, between innings, they do these fun little things on the scoreboard. You can't hear any of the audio on the speakers because it's so bad. The audio is so bad. Let's, for once, fix the speaker system at AmFam Field so we can hear what is going on. Have they replaced that in 20 years? I don't think so. It's as bad. It was bad at County Stadium, and it's bad here. Can we get some good speakers into Milwaukee and so we can hear what's actually being said? Mark Richards, he's being phased out here. Not phased out, but he's being drowned out by bad speakers. Let's fix that. Let's fix that. And of course, the beer district, that's outside the ballpark. That's probably something else. But you got the Deer District for the Milwaukee Bucks. We need the beer district All that parking lot out there, we've wasted it over the years. We've wasted opportunities to build around AmFam Field. Let's build around AmFam Field and have ourselves a beer district. And I'm not saying you have to have 35,000 bars around there, but let's have a couple of establishments down there so people can go down there and after games and hang out and get a feeling of baseball 12 months a year, like they're trying to do with the Deer District. Deer District, the Brewers are playing a playoff game, yet it's the Deer District of the Milwaukee Bucks that has things going on. They got the big screen and all that. Okay. They have it for postseason Bucks games, but now they do it for Brewer games too. Okay. We need to be keeping that thing at AmFam Field. Keep that here. Let's build up the Deer District. Get those speakers, winterize this place, and bring in some Final Fours or hockey or something. We're coming right back. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We'll see what you have to say on what you like, because you guys have the best ideas. You guys have the best ideas. The show is brought to you in part by Jase. Jase provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. All it takes to get a Jace case is fill out that simple online form, and in some cases, jump on with a quick call with one of the board-certified physicians. You can message these guys anytime, these guys or ladies, anytime. Get ongoing care from the physicians on any treatment regarding questions. Doctor created, doctor recommended. That's the Jace case. 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. Don't get caught unprepared. That's the last thing you need to do. Don't get caught unprepared. In this day and age, loss of job or whatever, it's easy to get unprepared. Illness coming out of nowhere. Don't get unprepared. The Jace case, get on that. That's a great new system they got there. Don't get unprepared. Everyone should be empowered to care for themselves and loved ones during the unexpected. Jace handles everything. Online evaluations, licensed pharmacy medication delivery, and ongoing consultation and care. Go to the Jace case. You see it on my screen right now, and use the promo code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Get yours today, JaseMedical.com. That's JASE Medical.com. Use that promo code LOCKEDON for $20 on the Jace case. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. When we return here on Locked On Brewers, we'll go see what you guys had to say. I threw this out on Twitter last night, and to see what kind of ideas you have for uses or improvements of your fan experience at AmFam Field. We're coming right back. Welcome back to Locked On Brewers. Chuck Freeman, your host here on Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. All right. I asked for a few things from you guys and say, hey, what would you like done here at AmFam Field? Brett the Packer fan says, concerts. Yes, they do have concerts in April and May. In the summertime, they'll bring these concerts to George Straits and Morgan Wallens and guys like that. Let's do more of that. Taylor Swift, why isn't she stopping at AmFam Field? We know why. She's up in Toronto having a concert in November. You know why? Because Toronto, the Sky Dome there, or the Rogers Center, is a heated facility. Heat this thing up, and those major concerts like that, Taylor Swift, they come to AmFam Field. Let's get on that. Okay. What else? Michael says, I always question why it wasn't when it was built. Why I question why it wasn't heated up, because they said we could only heat it to like 30 degrees above the temperature outside and a maximum of like 68 or so. So if it's 38, it gets up to 68 outside. We played the Badgers played there last year. It wasn't bad. Okay. I don't know if the Wisconsin's going to do that again, but let's get more. Let's get Marquette into that play. Let's get a hockey classic into that thing. Bobby's World says monster trucks, whatever it takes to bring people in there. Non-event staff says reasonable beer prices. I mean, the team name is the Brewers. Hey, this is anywhere you're going to go. Refreshments, food, it's all going to be at a cost. You know that. Ben Sheets says, not Ben Sheets. Ben Sheets Hangnail says, fill it with players that win a World Series. Well, that's my first priority, but that's not the ballpark. Alex says bowling. Well, we had the one bowling tournament in there. BG says, I'd like for them to put a championship caliber baseball team. I hear you, player. Gadzarik says, how about the world's largest fish fry? Well, that could be a one-day event. Why stop at winterizing? Bill says, why stop winterizing the ballpark? It's winterize all of Milwaukee. Marty says, I don't think nothing can improve the cave. It's one dark, dreary, sterile place. I don't think so. I don't look at AmFam Field as being dark, sterile, dank. No, it's a great place to go. It is. It's high. It's not, you don't get as much sun as County Stadium, the old County Stadium days, because that roof has got to be up high. Okay. So we want to be able to play baseball in April and May in that place, not freeze. So I get that. We trade a little sunshine in the summertime with that roof aboard. Brian says, bring the Royal Rumble. Dwayne says, I think making the park year-round will be open options like a Bucks game, the NCAA men's or women's basketball tournament, and more. Absolutely. A Bucks game. I don't know what their relationship with the Bucks seems to be pretty good. Let's bring a Bucks game in there once in a while and pack it in, get 40,000 fans into that, 50,000. Let's, you had the Philadelphia 76ers on a Sunday afternoon at AmFam Field. You're telling me you're not going to draw more than 20,000? Absolutely you will. In February, of course. What else is going on in Milwaukee? H-Bomb says, AmFam Field, too much of a dudgeon. It needs more light. I don't know. DK2 says, I want to see a major WWE pay-per-view at AmFam. SummerSlam would be too tricky with the Brewers playing. It's too small for WrestleMania these days, but the Royal Rumble, that can work. He had one pay-per-view. That was at County Stadium in the old 80s. WrestleFest. Andre versus Hogan. Daniel says, Admirals games here. Yes, I would say, how about an Admirals Wisconsin Badger hockey doubleheader? Admirals opening act for a Badger hockey game, and you have a doubleheader, Admirals and Badgers. A lot of people want a Royal Rumble here. Honey Banana says, Royal Rumble. Back when I was a wrestling fan, I've been all over that, but I've fallen off the wrestling game lately. Matt says, I look at a lot of states that allow high school state baseball tournaments to be held at an MLB site. It'd be a cool experience on top of getting it to state. They hold the state baseball tournament in Appleton, as we all know, more of a centralized place. But yeah, they've had high school baseball games there in the spring. On Brewers off days, teams have rented the place and played a high school baseball game. But the state baseball tournament, I'd be okay with that. I think, though, the Fox City Stadium up at Appleton is a perfect place for that. It was. But I mean, the intrigue of playing a baseball game at AmFam Field, just like the old private schools when they played at the old Milwaukee Arena, and going to state, playing at the Field House, or nowadays, of course, the Kohl Center. It's always a cool thing. Jake says, how about the Wisconsin League Championships? He means the state baseball tournament, I think. Alex says, I would love to see technology advancement, better Wi-Fi, charging ports at each seat. Charging ports at each seat. Yeah, right. But, the argument of that would say, leave your phone down. You're at a ballpark. Why are you looking at your phone? You're at a ballpark. And I'm as guilty as the next guy looking at my phone at a Brewer game. I am. I'm as guilty as the next guy on that. No question about that. But better technology. Yeah, the Wi-Fi never had a much of a problem. Alex also says better coffee options. Never had coffee there. Matt says, love to see the WIA state baseball tournament played there. Andy says, I'd love to see bars and restaurants added to the lots. Andy, you and I are on the same page. The parking lot is rarely full, so there is room. So bottom line is, I don't care what they do to the building. You could paint it pink, and I wouldn't care as long as they brought in a World Series. Yes, but you want to make your visitors' experience there, your fan experience, a good one. We want good speakers. We want, if we're going to pay high prices, well, let's have top priority. If we're going to do something, let's do it right. But I'm glad they're winterizing. I'll say that. I think that is a great, great idea. Yeah, a lot of people are chiming in with me. You love the fact that the winterizing. I saw that in the bill, and I'm like, oh, yes. It's like another $25 million, but this should have been happened a long time ago, but I get it. Mid-90s, we're just looking to keep that team here. Well, that's going to do it for Locked On Brewers. My name is Chuck Freeman. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Download us, Google, Spotify, Apple, all our major downloads. We're on all the audio platforms for podcasts. And, of course, please go to YouTube, subscribe, go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers. hit the subscribe button there and hit the bell. We'll alert you every time we drop an episode. We're here all off season for you guys, the greatest fans in the world. Don't let anybody tell you you're any different. Don't let these Phillies fans or anybody else tell you any different. We got the greatest fans supporting this team. 54 years, no World Series titles. You guys are the best. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. So long, everybody.